Okay, back on this Ampeg amp, I got the capacitor in there, and I just J hooked it in there. I used a radial instead of an axial lead capacitor. It'll be just fine. They're a lot cheaper and more available. And J hooking is just fine. I mean, if it was a restoration or something like that, you'd probably want to take the circuit board out and actually solder it on the other side. But this is just going to be, played occasionally. That'll be just fine. It's not like it's going to go on the road or anything. I was just noticing these really weird looking capacitors. Purple, white. On the schematic it says it's a 0.47. And I just have the reverb disconnected at this point, so I hope that'll be fine. It's 43 volts on the schematic going to the reverb, but that should be fine. So anyway, here we go. Let's see what happens. Guess I should turn the power. I got my current limiter up here. Let's put that on watts. You hear that? It's got a lot of hiss. I was going to try to maybe see if I can track that down. So maybe one of these crazy capacitors here. Okay, so sometimes when I've had luck just kind of tapping on things in the, take a chopstick and just kind of tap around on some things. It seems like that does something right there. Seems like one of the like right in that area. It's kind of noisy. Let's see if we can track that down on the schematic, see what that is. Okay, one thing I noticed as I was fiddling around with this thing is that you can make hear that hiss. This is the treble. It goes away if you fiddle around with this thing, so I'm just wondering if this control is just dirty. I mean, you can make it completely go away at certain parts, certain places on the dial. So let me try to clean this control. I'll clean all the controls and see what happens. Okay, so I've cleaned the controls. That's what I use right there. Let's see what happens now. Yeah, it is definitely still there. You can check those two resistors right there. Those are right coming off of the input jacks. They're supposed to be 120K. doesn't seem like it's really doing much. Maybe. And it could be the noisy transistor or something, but I'll have to do some more tracking down. But that, I mean, the controls are not scratchy now like they were, but that hiss is definitely still there. Let's see if you can hear it. It's pretty loud. When you plug an instrument into it, it all but goes away. So, I mean, now it's just like normal amplifier hum, or not hum, but hiss. You know, when you turn the volume up, it goes up. So I think it's okay. I think it was just a matter of it needing an instrument plugged into it. So I think we're good at this point on this thing. I'm going to leave the power cord wiring the way it is. I think that'll be just fine. So I was working on cleaning up the inside a little bit more, cleaning up the cabinet a little bit more, and I just found this tag in the bottom. You know, got the model number GT-10, serial number. It's interesting, it says watts 0.00. That's weird. Is that what that says? 00? I guess they just didn't know. Ampeg Co. Service Department, Linden, New Jersey. I wonder if it had been serviced or something. It looks like this tag was actually maybe right there. Yeah, it looks like that belonged right there. So I may try to glue that back on there. You know, this is my least favorite part about guitar amplifiers and radios, is cleaning the chassis and repairing the chassis or the cabinets. You know, I could do without this. I'm not sure what to do about that stain right there where it looks like somebody poured a Coke down the front, or a beer. What do you think about that, Leroy? What should we do about that?
Put some orange glow on it.
Orange glow? Won't that make it kind of greasy?
Or
I don't know. We're going to have to figure something out on that. We may just leave that as a battle scar. You know, use a toothbrush for something like this. Put a little bit of whatever, Windex or something on it. Let me try that on this. I don't know what I'll have to figure out something on that, Leroy.
Yep.
So on this front grill cloth, it just got Velcro. It just comes right off. So I'm not sure still what to do about this. But I'm going to clean that speaker up a little bit. It's got a little bit of dust in there, and I probably will do the try to, you know, let's see, strengthen up the, I don't know, that's pretty good. Sometimes I'll put that contact cement around the edges to kind of give it some more support, but that thing seems pretty good. That's a good speaker. I'll just clean that dust out of there, get a vacuum cleaner, and just gently brush that dust off of that. Okay, some of these, on some of the smaller scars on the vinyl, I'll just put a little dab of super glue, tack that down. I did use a magic marker, a Sharpie, and make that black so it won't show around the edges. And then on some of the bigger spots, probably like this one down here, I'll use a little bit of contact cement. a little jar of contact cement like this lasts. It'll last a long time. It'll go a long way, unless you're, you know, recovering the entire cabinet. A little jar like that's just fine. Before I bought a can, and to me it just lasted, for what I do, it just lasted so long. It got kind of crappy around the top. So one of these little jars like this is a good thing to have. That's a good size right there. So like I was saying, on something like this, I'll just go around the edges with a Sharpie, just so that it'll kind of hide the wood underneath there. And then on something little like that, where I don't have the replacement, the vinyl, I'll just go ahead and just fill it in with a Sharpie, and that'll hide that pretty good. That'll be just fine. And on these bigger spots like this, just like I said, just kind of go around it with a marker, dab some of this contact cement on there. You can see this cabinet. It's made out of plywood. It's a pretty good cabinet. Just let that kind of put it on there both sides, and then let it set up for a second till it gets kind of sticky, and then push it down. You know, I just used a chopstick to push down the corners really good, and then kind of roll over it. Make sure it's, you know, put some pretty good pressure on there, and that'll hold good. Some of these places on the edges where the threads are coming out of the vinyl, you can just kind of hide that with the marker, just like that. That's what I do, at least. Okay, on something like this, you'll want to put a good heavy coat of contact cement on both sides, and just let it sit there until it gets really sticky, almost dry, and then put it down and use something like, I can use like a paint. If it's a big area, you can use one of those rollers, but I just use a board or something to just hold it down. Okay, once that gets good and sticky, I mean, it's just like really, it's almost dry, but it's just like really sticky. Then just go ahead and push it down. And you know, use something to push it with. Kind of like that. Okay, I'm cleaning the control panel here. I mean, it was pretty grungy, and I'm using this mag and aluminum polish, Mother's polish. Thanks to Leroy. Leroy's got some of this stuff on hand, so that is working pretty good. You got to watch out. You know, testing an area first. Like these numbers are on there pretty good. Sometimes, especially older ones with the chrome finish, the numbers will come right off. So you gotta be really careful. But this is going to be just fine. So this is how the control panel ended up. I used that mag wheel polish, and then I went over it with a couple coats of car wax. The knobs, they were so corroded, I just I had to basically remove the line that was there before, but each knob has a little pointer still, so that'll be just fine. And then I went over it with a some just some tire shine, car tire shine. On the grill cloth, it's kind of, I ended up just spray painting it. It's not as pretty. I mean, that grill cloth had like some blue fibers in it that looked really nice, but there was no way I was going to get that stain out of there, so I just spray painted it. It looks okay. I just didn't want to ruin the grill cloth by trying to scrub that stain out of there. It was Coke or something that somebody had spilled down the front. So anyway, there it is. This is just the thrift store Stratocaster.